Alright guys, welcome back to another episode of Grow the Earth. Today we're out here in the garden and we're going to talk about squash. And now squash are a family and zucchini falls into that family also. So out here in the garden today we've got crookneck squash, straight neck squash, patty pan. We've also got some black beauty zucchini, some striped green zucchini. With squash and zucchini, you have a couple of different things that are kind of different from other plants. Number one, they are very heavy feeders. Just like your watermelons and so forth, they have a single taproot and they feed very heavily in that area. So whenever you plant these, you have to make sure that you give them as much nutrition as you can in that area where you plant them. Unlike other varieties, when a squash lays over and the main stem contacts the ground, it will root and draw nutrients from that place also. So you do have that opportunity for gathering other nutrients from elsewhere in your garden, but your plant's going to be fairly far along before that's able to happen. So guys, what we're going to go over next is I'm going to show you how these plants produce fruit, and I'm going to bring you in real tight because I'm going to show you that these plants have a male and a female. Much like a watermelon or a cucumber or a cantaloupe, they have two different flowers and they need both of those to reproduce. Alright guys, so I've pulled away some of these leaves here so that you can see the different flowers we've got here. Now, as you can see here, and here, I'll pull this one off. What you see here, this is a male plant. This is a male flower. Because you don't see any bulge back here, which would be your fruit. Also, when they're opened, what you'll notice is it has a single pistil, which is what they're called. It's called a pistil. But it's just a single large part of the flower that will be covered in pollen. So, in contrast, this is a female. And as you can see, this has got a fruit underneath the flower. Now, by contrast, where your male has a single stem like this inside of here, and I don't want to open this up because it'll actually kill that fruit, you'll have a group of 4 or 5 that will be standing up with a hole in the center. And like I said, cantaloupes, watermelons, cucumbers, and pretty much any of your cucurbit family, they all reproduce this same way. Alright guys, so we went and we grabbed a female flower that was open this morning off of a different plant, just so we could show you what the inside of this female plant looks like. Now, this has already been pollinated, so it's kind of spread apart, but usually these are very, very close together in more to this effect here. And to pollinate these, you're simply just going to take your male, and usually what I do is just rub it around the inside here, and make sure you transfer some of that pollen onto every one of these pieces here. Because that is what is going to pollinate, and that's what's going to set your fruit to grow. And one of these males, you can usually pollinate 2 to 3 females, but inevitably you're going to have more males on the plant than female, just for the way the plant usually produces. I find that in the morning, that usually the flowers are open in the morning more often. And usually they're closing up the later you get in the day. So after you get your pollination, you're going to have one of these guys. One of these guys here. Now this is where the flower was, and it's already fallen off. And now that it's been pollinized, the fruit is getting larger and larger and larger. Now there is a kind of a drawback to this in the fact of you can have non-fertilization or incomplete fertilization. And instead of these beautiful fruits like this, what you end up with is something more like this. This is a yellow zucchini that we've got further down that the plant for some reason sent out a bunch of females first with no males to pollinate. And what we ended up with was quite a few fruits like this, to where they started to grow. The flower on the end died, and it never got fertilized. And now the fruit has started to rot back to, basically the plant abandoned it because it wasn't pollinated. If you don't have bees, I mean, we've got bees that have been coming to our garden here lately, especially. Once our squash really started to start flowering, we've drawn a lot more in. But if you're in an area that doesn't have a lot of bees that come and visit your garden, you're probably going to have to fertilize these guys yourself. And a fun fact about these plants is these male flowers are considered a delicacy. In some places, they take these male flowers after they've opened up, and they actually batter and fry them. The Hispanic people will take these, and they actually make a soup out of them that is supposed to be very good for you, for your health and your well-being. And guys, what you're seeing here is the bane of squash's existence, which is an adult squash vine borer, which is actually a moth, but oddly enough, it comes out during the day and not at night like a regular moth. Those moths will actually seek out squash and zucchini, and they lay their eggs on the main stem of your plants. Now, there's a lot of different ways that you can prevent these from happening, from them laying their eggs there, but invariably you're going to deal with them in one way or another. Because when that egg hatches, what it does is it actually bores into the stem of the zucchini, and it starts eating the inside as it grows into a large grub. And if it continues to grow, once it reaches a certain point, it actually bores into the soil, and it cocoons and waits for next year to reinfest your zucchini next year, or your squash next year. So anytime you see one, you need to kill it, and you need to watch your plants intently, especially up and down the stem, because as you'll see right here in this picture next to me, there's almost a sawdust, and that is where that little worm has bored in, and it's actually expelling what it's eating. So with those, you need to, there's a couple of different ways you can take care of those, and I'll go over that in a different video, but there are dozens and dozens of people who have gone over how to get those grubs out of your plant without killing your plant. This is another example of God at work. It's no mistake that these plants have a male and a female counterpart. It's no mistake that they need both of those to produce fruit. Just as man and woman are to be joined together in marriage to produce fruit, it is no different with a plant. Now, yes, we have plants that are considered perfect in that they have male and female counterparts within a flower, but they still have male and female. Male and female is always needed to make fruit. So it only makes sense that he uses the same model that he created man with to create the plants and to create the trees and to create other animals with. It all operates on the same idea that you need a male and a female. So guys, we're going to end that off here. And as always, I encourage you to pray over your family, pray over your garden, and have a great day.